Today we are diving into one of the biggest, wildest tech controversies of the year. It's all about a battery that promises to change, well, literally everything. We're talking about a small company that came out of nowhere, claiming they've solved a problem that has completely stumped the world's biggest companies for decades. So the big question is, are they for real?
And that right there, that was the bombshell. At CES 2026, Marco Lettimaki, the CEO of this little Finnish company called Donut Lab, gets up on stage and declares that they haven't just made some breakthrough in a lab. No, they are putting the holy grail of energy storage into production vehicles right now.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the promise, what they actually claimed. Then, we'll get into the absolutely mind-bending numbers they're throwing around. From there, we'll dig into the skeptics case because, oh boy, there are a lot of red flags. Then, we'll try to unravel the mystery of what could really be going on. And finally, we'll ask the big question, is this whole thing a breakthrough or is it a total bust?
Right, so let's be super clear. Donut Lab wasn't just announcing a slightly better battery. They were basically announcing the end of the entire game as we know it. We're talking about the end of range anxiety, the end of waiting around for your car to charge, and the end of the fire risk that kind of haunts current battery tech.
The picture they're painting is of a single technology that just leapfrogs every major player out there, in the car industry, in the energy industry, you name it. A battery that's safer because it's solid, not flammable liquid, costs way less to make, and just blows everything else out of the water on performance.
Okay, let's get to the specs. These are the numbers that have everyone talking and raising a few eyebrows. And these aren't just small improvements, These are claims that sound completely revolutionary.
First up, energy density. They're claiming 400 watt-hours per kilogram. So what does that actually mean? Well, today's best, most expensive lithium-ion batteries, the ones in high-end EVs, they top out around 250, maybe 300 watt-hours per kilogram. So Donut Lab is claiming a massive jump in power for the exact same amount of weight.
Next up, charging speed. They're saying a full 0 to 100% charge in just 5 minutes. I mean, that's just unheard of. Most modern EVs take over 20 minutes just to get from 10 to 80%, and that's because the charging has to slow way down to protect the battery. Donut Lab says, nope, not a problem for us.
And this number, this might be the most unbelievable one of all, a lifespan of 100,000 charge cycles. To put that in perspective, a typical EV battery today is rated for maybe 1,500, maybe 2,000 cycles before it really starts to degrade. We are talking about a 50 times increase in longevity. It's just staggering.
And this table really just lays it all out, doesn't it? It shows the sheer scale of what they're claiming. You put their numbers side by side with what we have today, and even with the next-gen stuff from major players like QuantumScape. And Donut Lab isn't just promising an improvement. They are claiming to have completely changed the rules for every single key metric, all at the same time.
But as you can probably guess, the second these numbers hit the internet, the entire scientific and tech community started asking some very, very tough questions. I mean, the claims were so extraordinary, they seemed to fly in the face of the known laws of battery chemistry.
And the list of concerns is, well, it's long. In an industry that is built on hard science and protecting your intellectual property, Donut Lab has 0 patents, no peer-reviewed papers, no data from independent testers. Their leadership team, no public background in electrochemistry. And maybe the weirdest part? At CES, the biggest tech show on the planet, the revolutionary battery cells they had on display were apparently just 3D printed plastic models.
This comment from a Reddit user pretty much nails the heart of the skepticism. See, battery development is all about trade-offs. You can usually make a battery charge faster, sure, but that almost always hurts its lifespan or how much energy it can hold. The idea that one battery can max out every single stat at once, it just doesn't line up with how we understand physics to work.
And then you have bizarre statements like this one. This was their justification for maybe slowing down their 5-minute charging. It was seen by almost everyone as completely unbelievable. I mean, what company with a world-changing technology would intentionally make it worse so people can have a coffee break? It just sounded like a really weak excuse, not a feature.
So, if the official story feels, too good to be true, then what could actually be happening behind the scenes? Well, there are a couple of pretty compelling theories floating around that try to make sense of all this.
All right, theory number 1, Donut Lab isn't actually the inventor. They're the marketer. And there's one name that keeps popping up again and again. Another Finnish company, Nordic Nano Group. So it turns out Donut Lab is a known strategic partner and an investor in Nordic Nano, a company that specializes in some really advanced nanocarbon materials.
Now, the CEO of Donut Lab denies this has anything to do with their battery. But a lot of people think they're simply packaging and branding cells that were actually developed by their partner, who just wants to stay in the background for now. And that leads us to an even more interesting question. Are we even talking about a battery in the way we normally think about it? Those wild performance numbers have led a lot of experts to a totally different conclusion.
Okay, so a supercapacitor stores energy physically in an electric field, not chemically like a battery. This gives it two huge advantages that might sound a little familiar: incredibly fast charging and a crazy long cycle life, often in the hundreds of thousands. The big trade-off has always been that they just can't store as much energy. So a lot of experts are speculating that the donut battery is actually a breakthrough supercapacitor that somehow solved that energy density problem, which, hey, if that's true, it would still be a massive achievement.
But at the end of the day, after all the speculation, all the theories, all the red flags, this whole debate really just comes down to one simple thing: proof. And the crazy part is, we might not have to wait very long to get it. So here's the thing. The company put a deadline on its own claims. The very first motorcycles equipped with this supposed wonder battery are scheduled to be delivered to actual customers this quarter. The truth is going to come out when real riders get these bikes on the road and put them through their paces. And let's be real, the stakes here could not be higher. This is not just about a cool, fast-charging motorcycle. If this technology is legit, it could decarbonize transportation, revolutionize our energy grid, and fundamentally change the world we live in. And if it's not, well, it's going to go down in history as a massive cautionary tale about tech hype. So the whole world is watching. Is this a genuine, out-of-nowhere breakthrough that changes everything? Or is it just a masterclass in marketing and hype? In the next few months, the road is going to be the ultimate judge, and we will finally have our answer.